Hey everyone, Davey here. My e-commerce stores have done over $270 million. Today I'm gonna show you a complete ClickFunnels walkthrough. I'm gonna give you everything you need to know, and then I'm gonna clarify exactly when I use it in e-commerce. If you plan on using ClickFunnels for webinars or landing pages, it's okay. I'm not just gonna show you e-commerce tips. Let's get into it. So for those that have been following along at home for our Lemon Scrub series, we're launching a cleaning product. So I'm just gonna come to clickfunnels.com. We're just gonna click try for free. They have a free service, which is always really good. Just gonna enter my details. So I'm just gonna start building my free funnel, and it's gonna take me to a page where I can enter all my other details. In ClickFunnels fashion, they're going to try to upsell you. This is why the product is pretty beastly. We're gonna go enter all my details. So you do need to enter your credit card details here. So once you get to this dashboard, you can go through these steps here. However, they might take you through some things that you don't actually need. The main panels that you've also got are up this top right. So this ClickFunnels is where you're going to create all your funnels. This is around their email marketing tool, which you might actually not need depending if you're using another integration like Klaviyo. This is their affiliate marketing side of things, which you're probably not going to need either. Today, the main thing that we're going to show you how to do is actually create a funnel. So we're going to come in here and click funnels and build a new funnel. It's going to come up with some options that you can go ahead and click through if you'd like. If you're really experienced, you can create a custom funnel, which will be a blank funnel. What I suggest, if it is your first time, is actually finding a funnel that you really want to build. It might be a competitor, it might be someone else that's just really killing it in the e-commerce industry. The one that I'm going to use as an example is Shine Armor. Getting an example funnel that you want to build is really important, especially if you're not a designer. There are lots of things that actually go into a funnel, such as composition and conversion rate optimization, that as an early stage founder or not a designer, you actually might miss. So by copying the layout of a funnel, you're going to be able to pick up on all of those wins. So if we wanted to recreate this funnel in ClickFunnels, we could come into here and we could use one of the existing templates down here. I'm doing an e-commerce funnel, but you might want to do something like generate leads, or alternatively, do a webinar. So the funnel we're gonna use today is this 2-step tripwire funnel. There's some good templates in there. And we can come down here and we can use this foodie funnel. Click here, get funnel. It's gonna generate that template for us. You don't actually need to use a template if you really understand how to use the editor inside of ClickFunnels, but as a beginner, I strongly recommend it. So now we're at this page, it's really important to understand what we're looking at. In the blue is the funnel wide settings. So if we change something like this, it's gonna change the settings across all the steps of the funnels, which we have on the left here. So we've got the order page, we've got the offer page, and a downsell offer page here, and the order confirmation here. The only other thing that we also have is up here in the gray. This is going to affect this single step. It's not going to affect the full funnel like this. It's really important to understand that. So we're gonna jump straight into the editor, the fun stuff, and click edit page. And again, this is just going to edit the 2-step process. So we've got a pretty ugly page here, but it's got some great elements. All ClickFunnels templates consist of sections, rows, columns, and elements, and they're just nicely laid out there for you. So you can see these sections when you highlight over here, and then come in, and then also come in further to the elements. So basically that's the structure of what you're working with. It's very similar to a lot of page builders out there at the moment. So if we wanted to create this page here, and we always start with the top, we would need to, because there's 3 elements here, we would need to create 3 columns. So we can come in here, and this is a single column. We're gonna wanna come into rows, and we're gonna create 3 columns and just drag and drop it here. We could go in and delete this element, that's all good. We can delete this as well, and we can add a new element. You can scroll down and find what element's suitable for you. We're gonna add a logo, so we wanna use an image. We're gonna click on the demo image and get rid of this placeholder. To upload files in ClickFunnels, you're gonna click upload, and then we're just going to add the logo. To add the image, now we can just click that and click add image at the top right. And there we go, there's our logo. Now we also wanted to add 2 more images. So our product isn't made in the USA, so we can't obviously use these images. We need to make sure that it's factually correct. Honestly, for this example, it doesn't really matter. I'm going to click add new element and I'm going to add an image. Maybe we'll add a as seen on TV. Let's say our product has made it. And then we're also going to add a Trustpilot reviews, really pushing our social proof. Again, we don't have Trustpilot reviews. This is just for the sake of the video. You're probably thinking this looks terrible. Now we need to format the images. This is quite easy within the editor of ClickFunnels. We basically just want to make them all the same height. Let's say 75, it's going to be 75 as well. So we're doing all of this within the native ClickFunnels editing software on the right here by just clicking on the element settings. Now we can also drag across this and this so that it's sitting in a more applicable place. As you can see, now it's starting to look more like our example page. We can actually click on our logo as well and use the alignment tool, which is over here, click left to bring it across here. Starting to look pretty similar now. Another really important thing to understand is how to use margins and padding. So we can click this and just drag this up and down. We want to bring the bottom up as well. Now, one thing you might want to do is actually use backgrounds to really make things pop. So we can come up here and we can actually change the background of the page. Right now it's this image that was part of it, but we can come into backgrounds. We can just use a standard gradient like so, and it will tidy things up a little bit. If we were to continue just working down this page, editing things, and adding sections, you could create this whole page within ClickFunnels. You don't just want to use the image drag and drop, you do want to use the text editor for speed optimization. So to do that, it's really simple. You can just click on the text. Alternatively, we can change the whole element. We can come in here to the orange, click settings, and we can change the font accordingly to the default font or whatever we pick. So I'm going to go to Oswald and we've got our lemon scrub copy ready to go. So we're going to come in here and I'm just going to copy and paste our headline. We can use 2 text elements, probably not needed. I can delete this element and we can click settings. We can click on the element and we can really bring this font size down. Now we can also make certain things pop within the text editor. So we can come in here. We can go, let's say we really want to highlight stain cleaner. We could do it, make it bold. Could also make it a different color. Now to change all of these elements, we obviously need them on brand with our colors. So we can come in here. Again, we're just editing that section. This currently has a border on it. So we need to go into the more advanced styling and we can change this again. A huge amount of flexibility. The order forms here. For this brand here, they actually don't have an order form. What they have is when they click through, they've got this bundle selector, which we can easily build in the back end of ClickFunnels, and then they click buy it now and they'll actually go to a checkout page. This is a common thing within e-commerce and something that is a huge advantage of using something like ClickFunnels versus Shopify currently. People are able to therefore do what's called a squeeze page. That might even be like an advertorial. I'm sure you've seen them on news articles. They're the really spammy things, the clickbaity stuff that you go into and it's talking about toenail fungal or something like that. And there's a really good solution and there's an advertorial. They are extremely effective. There's some brands that are doing huge volumes through these advertorials, through both native advertising and Facebook advertising. So setting up a squeeze page or advertorial information page and then pushing them to more like a direct sales page like this with a customizable checkout. That checkout page will be highly customizable thanks to ClickFunnels versus the Shopify native checkout, which really doesn't have that many customizable features at this stage. You can split test that and create huge optimizations. One thing that you really also need to understand with ClickFunnels Editor is how to make the mobile view look good. Mobile is so important. It's going to be 90% of your traffic. It's so important that some people are actually now just building their funnels on mobile. We can come into here and click mobile and see the mobile view of it. It looks pretty bad. This is definitely, again, a limitation. However, you can make it work. We can come into here and if it is a text block, we can click settings and we're gonna have this section over here which shows mobile size only. We can actually change the font for this section for the mobile and the desktop will say exactly the same. There are limitations with what we can do this with. So you really need to understand how to hide certain blocks on mobile and still make them show up on desktop. So we can click settings here and down here we can decide where this block or these columns will actually show up, and we can just click desktop only. And now you can see it's desktop only, and then we can come to mobile and it's disappeared. We can then redesign that block in the mobile version so it looks good. We could use, say, a actual just one image in a line and just plonk that on top there. Next step is we can just save this funnel and we can just click exit. Now, if we wanted to launch this funnel, what we really need to do is set up a domain for it. So we can come into settings. Now, if you have domains already set up to ClickFunnels, they're going to be offered here. Alternatively, we can click add and edit domains. We can click add new domain. And now we have the options here. We can easily click choose domain here and register it within ClickFunnels. We can buy the domain through ClickFunnels and it'll be one click and integrated, which is the simplest way. If you're only doing a ClickFunnels funnel, then definitely use this. If you're like me, where we're building a separate Shopify store, our branded store, and this is more like the direct response, which we're split testing traffic to, we're gonna wanna use our existing domain. And we're gonna use what's called a subdomain. There is a little bit more of a technical setup, but by having a subdomain, it's all going to be aligned with your brand. So for example, a subdomain might be offer.trylemonscrub.com.au. I can click add domain here and it's going to suggest that I add a CNAME to my records. So in your domain provider, whether it was GoDaddy or Namecheap, you can then go ahead and add this CNAME into that. If it's too technical for you, there's a lot of YouTube videos out there, but you can definitely just get a developer to help you out with that one. The next step that you will need to do to get your funnel live is just go into payment gateways. We're gonna add a new payment gateway and we're going to select Stripe. We're going to create a new Stripe account and follow the prompts. This new Stripe account is going to be under all of your business settings, the exact same as your Shopify store. The other thing that we need to know is how to change certain settings so it doesn't seem scammy. You know, we touched on this in the Shopify episode. We can come into settings and we can go SEO metadata. And up here, we can change this. This is going to change this text here. If someone came onto this to buy Lemon Scrub and they saw a foodie two-step order form, they would freak out and probably leave. So we can change this to Lemon Scrub offer cleaning paste or something along the lines, and you get the idea. We can change all of this if we like. The image is probably pretty important. We'd put something branded, so if it ever got shared on Facebook or in iMessage, it would come up with the correct image so people would capitalize on the offer. The other thing we want to do is come into general, and we want to come into this section. So this is the affiliate badge, which is basically it comes up on all ClickFunnels pages down the bottom right. And if someone clicks on that and builds a funnel, then you're going to start getting affiliate commissions. We don't want that. We want people just focusing on our Lemon Scrub to buy that. So we want to click hide and we're going to save that accordingly. What we then need to do is integrate into something that can actually fulfill the orders. So I'm using Shopify for my main branded site. So I need to integrate Shopify so that can handle all the fulfillment on its side. So I'm going to go to my Shopify store. I'm going to go into apps. I'm going to add the native ClickFunnels app. So it should bring up this native app. We can just install the app and it should be now connected. So the orders that now come through ClickFunnels should be pushed to the orders within Shopify so you can manage them accordingly. You still will need the email integration set up on your native ClickFunnels to ensure that you can get the abandoned cart emails. So we need to make sure that we add a product. So to do this, we can click add product. We can select our payment gateway that we set up previously. One time, considering we're only selling a physical one-time product. We can set up a subscription if we want to start sending Lemon Scrub monthly or weekly, but that's going to take a little bit more design work. We're just going to call this Lemon Scrub 250 gram, and we're just going to go through all of these settings, populate them based on what our Shopify store is actually saying. It does feel like you're doubling up with this kind of stuff, considering you've already set it up in Shopify, but the place that we actually integrate it with Shopify is actually only on the last step within shipping, which I'll show you in a second. So I'm just going to race through and enter all of these details. And once we get to shipping, we're going to click yes, this is a physical product, and we're going to have our existing integration here. So we're going to click Lemon Scrub, and we're going to select our product SKU that we set up in the Shopify episode and click Save and Next. Now the product is saved successfully. When people go through that order form, it's going to be for this product specifically. We can add images of that product to our order form, just like Shine Armor had, and we now have a more direct response sales funnel. One of the main benefits of using something like ClickFunnels is the ease of split testing. Shopify, it is still quite difficult to split test things within the native theme builder. You need to use something like Google Optimize or Convert.com and do a bunch of stuff in Google Tag Manager to get it all set up. ClickFunnels, it's all built in. This is why a lot of people actually just use these direct response sales funnels to find their AOV increase and conversion rate increase wins, and then they'll actually transfer those wins onto Shopify somehow. All you need to do to create a split test is come into your funnel steps, click on the funnel step that you want to split test, click create variation, and we're going to create a duplicate page from two-step order. So this is going to duplicate both of those pages. If we wanted to split test a whole new page, a whole new template, say Shine Armor versus, something that looks a bit more like Shopify, we could do that as well. We can change the amount of traffic that we want to send to each variation, which isn't a bad idea if we already know that this variation is killing it and we want to change a lot more variables, which could drastically decrease our sales volume. We don't want to take that risk. But considering we're just getting started, we might want to do 50-50 traffic. This is going to clearly indicate the winner of the test sooner rather than later. We can click edit page. A basic rule of split testing is always test one variable at once. We don't want to change multiple things because then we don't know what actually won. An example split test that we could do for this is if I was going to use a sales video on the other one, I could actually just use a sales image for this product. So I could change this from a video, I could delete it, and I could add an element, add an image, and I could add this image instead. And now instead of the video being in that section, we now have this image and we can run traffic to that. One thing that you will want to do is make sure that your domain is set up before clicking start split test. You want to set up that subdomain and make it look professional. If not, then you can click start split test. What happens is when someone goes to this URL, like here, it's going to either send 50-50 to both traffic sources, and it will give you a whole bunch of metrics. These metrics are clearly shown in this stats section. It's all nice and easy for you. So you can see where people are dropping off, the sales, the differences, AOV, all of those kind of things there. So the only other thing that we need to do to ensure that your ClickFunnels funnel is converting is set up email marketing. So I like to go to integrations and add a new integration. Now you've got all of these email providers here. We could use Drip or we could use ActiveCampaign. Unfortunately, there is no native Klaviyo integration. This is one of the most frustrating things with ClickFunnels at the moment is they don't seem to be very up to date with what e-commerce people need. So first of all, Afterpay isn't a setting, which can cause huge conversion rate decreases versus your initial Shopify store. And then there's no Klaviyo as well. So there is the native email service that ClickFunnels does provide, which can create transactional emails and whatnot. If after watching all of that, you're still a little unsure whether ClickFunnels is for you, you can actually build a lot of these features within Shopify, which we have done for our Lemon Scrub product. I've actually just used the page builder gem pages for this. We just got a freelancer to build it, just to build out a little bit more information on top of the page. We've got our comparison tables, we've got how it works, and so forth. This still needs a little bit of work. The fonts need changing and whatnot. However, it is starting to take shape. You can see that there's more information on the page. We've got a better hierarchy of information and better images, which is super, super important. Gem pages also allows you to do split testing, which is great, just like ClickFunnels. The reason why I would choose ClickFunnels over gem pages is I really do like the customizable checkout pages. You can do some really aggressive order bumps and things like that, subscription plays and so forth. So there's just still a little bit more customization there. I do know that Shopify is working on ways that you can actually split test your checkout and all of those kind of things. In an upcoming episode, what I'm gonna actually do is break down funnels. I'm gonna talk about the best practices of funnels, and I'm gonna show you some example funnels and how they've built them. This will then allow you to really instruct your designers or design pages yourself that really get some incredible results. I'm excited to split test running traffic to both an advertorial and this GemPages landing page, so you can see how drastic the difference actually is. For all you people that are learning ClickFunnels out there, good luck. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.